Hey guys, welcome on in for today's video where I'd like to talk about my own personal opinion on where I think the current 2020 Democratic primary field should be. So those who should continue to stay in the race and maybe those who should consider dropping out. Now, before jumping into that, if you're interested in participating in all of our Twitter community polls as well as getting all the latest information on the latest and greatest interesting polling data that I find, you can follow my Twitter account, which is going to be linked right at the top of the video description. So heading into this one, I feel like the cutoff line should be right at where Andrew Yang is, and then also minus Beto O'Rourke, who's there at 2.5 percentage points. So the field that I'd like to see going forward so that we have a more coherent debate stage and these candidates can maybe have a bit more time to speak on their policies and issues. Those would be the clear frontrunners that we have: Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, and then also Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, and Andrew Yang. That gets us into a scenario where there's 6 candidates and a variety of different types of candidates and different policies and opinions where it could really have a fascinating debate stage scenario where these candidates are comparing and contrasting the differences in their policy. And that would mean candidates like Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, Tulsi Gabbard, Cory Booker, Tom Steyer, Julian Castro, and then the list goes on from there, where I just don't feel like they've been able to have and find enough success at this point in time where they reasonably feel like they could have success. Or maybe there's other candidates that are polling a bit better than them that are very similar on policy and substance and really occupy a very similar lane. So just to talk about the 6 candidates that I feel like should continue going forward, obviously, the 3 frontrunners, Biden, Warren, and Sanders, and you have an interesting mix here where with Biden, it's your more establishment-backed candidate, and then obviously a lot of voters that back Biden are nostalgic about the Obama years. Of course, Biden was the VP behind Obama for those 8 years, and it's just a voting bloc that wants a return to normalcy or nostalgia towards those prior 8 years before Trump came into office. But then just beyond that, he does very well among the older voter age demographic. And these are people who don't want systemic change. More or less, they want things to stay the same, maybe little tweaks here and there. And voting for Biden, they feel like they can accomplish that. Now, with Warren and Sanders, you have the 2 most progressive candidates in this Democratic primary field. And that should really be information that these other candidates should use to their advantage. You have 2 individuals who continue to outdo each other by going further to the left on the policies that they're introducing, and it seems to only help them in the polls. Now, with Warren, you're getting somebody who's a little bit different than Sanders, more of a progressive who wants to reform the system, where a Sanders is a progressive who wants a complete revolution and to change the system. So you are getting a little bit of a difference here between Warren and Sanders. They aren't completely redundant in that manner. Then we have Buttigieg and Harris, where these are viewed as up-and-comers in the establishment wing of the Democratic Party, and you have Buttigieg, who's catering more to that white vote, and Harris, who has a bit more of a diverse coalition behind her. But it's been pretty bad for Harris for a couple of months now where she's continued to backslide, and you could even maybe make a case that with the trajectory of what we're seeing from her particular campaign, that she has almost no shot at rebounding and regaining the success that she had during the summer, but she's still polling well enough where she can make a case to continue to be out there. And when I look at the candidates that I think should probably drop out, those like an O'Rourke, a Klobuchar, a Booker, these are also individuals that are viewed favorably more by the establishment wing of the Democratic Party and are kind of redundant with candidates like a Buttigieg and Harris. So if I were to make a cutoff line, at least Harris and Buttigieg are having a bit more success polling-wise in comparison to those other individuals that I just explained. And then also, I think it's to a benefit having Andrew Yang up there on the debate stage because he's a complete outsider to this political process. He's been able to generate a lot of enthusiasm and excitement in terms of the success that he's had with his online campaign. But then beyond that, he also brings some very interesting differences among policy, trying to get to similar goals that the progressive candidates like a Warren and Sanders are trying to get to, but getting there in a different way. And I think that's also a benefit to have on a debate stage in terms of comparing and contrasting different ways of getting to these certain goals. So again, guys, what I would like to see it at in terms of on the debate stage going forward are the candidates that maybe have a more legit opportunity to find success once we get towards the caucus and primary season. That would be Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, as well as Andrew Yang. And all of the other candidates, They haven't been able to find a whole lot of success up to this point in time. Like I said, we've worked our way through over half a year of campaigning and debates, and if you haven't been able to find traction and success at this point, you're probably not going to be able to rebound and have success over this next handful of months that we work our way through. So I appreciate you guys stopping by for today's video. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you guys back here for my next video.